Hi, here we are again. And this time I want to talk just a little bit about intention and how it intersects with possibilities and probabilities. But first, let's take a moment just to settle, have that moment of breathing space that I've been inviting you to have on these videos, to really become familiar with that internal home base, excuse me, that you carry within you all the time. So just noticing a little breath, a respite, arriving to your internal home base. This time, I'm going to probably be talking about something I mentioned early on in these videos. I want to cover it a little more deeply in a certain way on this one. Because one of the things I've really lived with for a lot of years right now, I think 45 years probably, is work with the optimal future. That's something that has resonated with me over all these years, and I know has made a huge difference in how my life unfolded by drawing on my optimal future potentialities. I've developed things I never would have imagined living in this particular lifetime. Ways of being I would not have imagined having access to. So just to say, we know from quantum ideas that our intentions intersect with the quantum field, the field within which possibility and probability exist in an infinite array. And I think, and I'm happy to be proven wrong about anything I say. My understanding is intention intersects with possibility and probability. Where I differ some from other people who do a lot of work on manifesting is I really have always emphasized, as I mentioned in another video, I've always emphasized being receptive to what I don't know already. I am very aware of how conditioned we are and how our beliefs really shape our perceptions and understanding. So when I reach out to an optimal future, I am asking myself not to know what that's going to bring to me, other than holding the intention that it will be an optimal outcome for me. It will fit me in an optimal way. I think I mentioned on one of the other videos, one of the things I ask people to play with, just to experiment with, is each day to start the day with a statement along the lines of, I am receiving and living into my optimal life. But to do that without having to know necessarily what that means. I probably mentioned this in other videos, but oh wow, did I have a speaking phobia, big time, really bad speaking phobia. And I could not have imagined that I would grow into someone who did public speaking, not in a million years. But when I met my first optimal future self, that started this ball rolling. And it did so by changing my body state. When I blended with her, I had a really different experience in my body that also apparently brought along with it a different experience in my psyche. So there are two kinds of intentions I play with. One is the intention that I am open to receive my optimal life. Definitely. And the other is an intention that's focused on a particular issue, wish, intention, right? So I might be doing a future self journey where I want to tap into the part of me that has already healed whatever reaction I might be dealing with. That's a more specific intention and brings a different kind of experience where you're really, that's when I blend with the future self to get the new body state, the new way of thinking. But it's not that I am creating that, I'm receiving it. The same way I've been talking about doing with intuitive awareness, it becomes an experience that I receive, not that I create. And again, as it with all the intuitive things I'm talking about, I write down those experiences to see as time unfolds, do those qualities start to emerge? In my first future self, her core was absolutely solid and comfortable. And wow, that was not who I was at that time. But over time, my body, mind, being actually took in that information and shaped me around it, which is what I actually think is happening quantum wise, that we touch into new experience, which brings new information to our body, mind, being. And then our body, mind reorganizes itself around that new information. So I don't have much else to say about this, except when we're offering intentions to the universe, to our world, we want to also offer ourselves our open receptivity so that we can allow the input to come to us from our own, maybe from our own optimal future, maybe from an alternate self. I don't think I've done a video about that, but once we start moving into the idea of multidimensional reality and even multiverses, the resources just keep expanding. And I mentioned before, it doesn't matter if it's your own wisdom bringing this forward, or if in fact you're tapping into a resource that is more than you. It doesn't matter. What matters is what generates positive change or positive outcomes or a positive state of being that really serves your well-being. So again, to play with, I am receiving and living into my optimal life, and then noticing what arises, and offering to the universe intentions that you can then receive the responses to those intentions, the probabilities. I think someone said in something I had read recently, the possibilities becoming a probability, when the possibility and your intention intersect, drawing forth a probability that can live itself in you. Not figuring it out, not deciding what it's going to be, but really allowing yourself to receive what is optimal for you and to play with your intentions and noticing what arrives when you offer the quantum field an intention that you really care about. Remember, I really recommend, but you might have another way of doing this, but I really recommend journaling, writing this down, making a record of what you experience so that you can then track what emerges and becomes actual for you remembering that discernment is always our companion along the way, along with curiosity. Remember that curiosity opens us and makes us receptive. So when we're curious about what the heck is going on, we also want to bring discernment around what we receive. And that doesn't mean tearing it apart and criticizing it. It just means let me wait and see how this plays out in my experience and my awareness, and what turns out to be really useful and what turns out not to have been so very important after all. And so for this time, that's all for now, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.